not being broke. Let's talk about it.
What do you think that successful people do every day that other people don't?
They are the type of person that follows through. Like they are true to their word. I started researching like some of the most successful people and like how they became so consistent. And what I found was that they are not the type of person who just has hardcore willpower. It's that they design an environment where their willpower isn't tested. It makes it easier to be consistent. Just develop this deep sense of when I say I'm going to do something, I absolutely 100% I'm going to do it. And people can have the integrity to just be consistent and then just to do what they say they're going to do. I think that's probably the two biggest keys I can think of for success.
When it comes down to it, guys, you literally just have to start. I have talked to many people over the past 6-7 years about being successful, starting a business, whatever it is, and majority of the time, these people have great ideas. They want to execute. They talk about how cool it would be if it happens. And I watch them, I keep up on them, and they never start. Guys, the difference between people who you looked at and you're like, wow, how'd they do this, right? How did that happen for them? And then you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, that could never happen to me. Could never do that. That's the problem right there, and that's the difference. That is the main difference between people who usually become successful and the people who don't. Is actually starting something. For example, myself, whenever I started this YouTube channel, there wasn't much prep. There wasn't much build up. Now I was watching YouTube. I started this channel back in 2018 and I was watching videos and I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to do that. Like that was something that interested me a little bit. And I was driving home from work one day. I was listening to a podcast. It was actually Gary Vee. And he was kind of saying the same thing I'm saying right now. Like if you want to do something, like just start it. Just go do it. I was like, okay, cool. So I texted my wife on the way home from work, and I said, hey, babe, you're going to have to take Mason outside. I'm filming a video in our living room, and the rest is history. All because I just chose to start. The same thing applies for the software company. Called my buddy one day. I was like, hey, let's do this. That day we started, opened up the checking account, and we got to it. Like, we just started. And I will say, I think as you do that more, it gets easier, right? Same thing with the mortgage broker stuff. I became a mortgage broker. I woke up one day, I was like, I'm doing this. I want to try something different. Started it. Didn't think twice. But I think as you figure out, like, once you do just start something and keep taking baby steps along the way, sooner or later it's going to work out. It becomes much easier to start something new. To where when you've never started anything new in your life and you've always overanalyzed or pushed things off or, kind of stepped back and thought about all things that could go wrong with it, so that made you not start, it makes it that much harder to actually start something new. To where if you just wake up one day, you're like, screw it, I don't care what happens, let's do this. It's usually when some big changes can happen in your life.
How much debt have you paid off?
A little over $253,000.
And how long did this take?
A little over 7 years. That was our home, student loans, vehicles, credit cards.
Completely debt-free house and everything. Look at it,
Everything.
weird
Wow.
people. How old are you two weird people?
I'm 40.
37.
All our consumer debt was about $78,000. And so we got that paid off in 19 and a half months.
What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Don't talk about it, be about it. We
Sacrifice.
This big time sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's just working together to get this done.
Yeah.
Like I got my family back.
That's awesome.
We saved our marriage, and
Your family got you back.
yes,
Yes.
we give all the credit and thanks in the world to you, Dave.
Well, I give it to you. You did it. You're the dadgum heroes. I just showed you how.
So-
$253,000 paid off in 7 years. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
In 3, 2, 1.
We're debt free!
Yeah!
Those will never get old. I still remember to this day sitting in my cubicle back when I had my engineering job, and I would listen to that. I would listen to Dave Ramsey's podcast, and I'd hear these debt-free screams, and then some of the stories that come with that are absolutely motivational, and they make you tear up a little bit. Like, there's nothing better than seeing a family completely turn around themselves financially. Now, guys, if you haven't caught on yet, this video, I'm switching things up a little bit, right? Usually it's the weary and, the massive car payments and all hell's breaking loose in the world. No one can afford anything to live. Well, every now and then I want to switch things up a little bit, and I want to look at some people who are killing it with money and how you can too. To not make you so depressed, to see all the bad that's going on in the world and how tough things are right now, I also want to throw some motivation your way and see that, yes, although we may be living in tough times, but when you see families like that who completely flip their lives around 180 and change their financial future completely, it gives you motivation to let you know that it can be done. And the same thing goes back to what I was saying in the last clip about just having to start. If you're in that spot right now where you're in massive debt, car debt, medical debt, student loans, credit cards, your house, and you just want to live a life where you don't have no worries and no worry about having to pay somebody else in order to get your bills paid, like, that's not the life I wanted to live. And I'll tell you this, when you become officially 100% debt-free, it feels great. It really does. I mean, think about that for a second. Imagine a life where you can lay your head down at night and you know you owe no one any money. Zero. You lay down in your bed, that bed's yours. The house you're sleeping in with that puts a roof over your head, that's yours. Minus the government still owning it, but that's a whole nother conversation. Don't pay your property taxes, they'll take it from you, by God. But no, seriously, guys. I mean, when you think about it like that, that's a wonderful life to live. And it can happen. But there's sacrifice that you have to make. Yes, you may be in a shitty spot right now financially, but that doesn't mean you can't turn yourself around and get out of it. It starts with you. You're the only one that can save yourself. No one's coming to save you. You have to be the one to make the decision to be able to change your life financially and take those steps to get there. And the best way that you can do that, I say this in almost every single video, is live below your means. Spend less than you make. If you're having to use credit cards to get by, you got to change something financially. You either have to cut your expenses or increase your income or do a mix of both.
I open up a mutual fund account and I started with $100 a month, okay? And I open up a VUL and I put $100 a month into it. That's when I was broke. And that money would just go. And then gradually I would raise it from 100 to 200, to 200 to 300, 300 to 400, 500, $1,000 a month. And then one day you wake up, you're like, wait, I got $360,000 in this account. That's kind of cool. How did this happen?
Happened to me.
Yeah. I'd always guess. And then you're like, okay, what can I do with this? And then you get a little bit more and more and more sophisticated because people are dealing with additional things as well. Today, when you're looking at your money, it has to do with your age. Your risk tolerance at 64 should not be the risk tolerance of a 42-year-old and shouldn't be the risk tolerance of a 22-year-old. Those things vary. Ages vary. The other part about when it comes down to this is time horizon. You got short-term, mid-term, long-term. What portion of your money do you need short-term? If your daughter is getting married in 2 years and you need to be paying for that wedding and it's going to be a couple $100,000 or $100,000, you need to set that money aside because that time is coming. If kids are about to go to college and they don't have the GPA to get scholarship, you need that money to be set aside to be prepared. That's short term. Midterm, again, depends how old your kids are, depends if you're married, depends any of that stuff. And then long term.
A lot of great things he said there, except there's no way I'm paying over $100,000 for a wedding. No way. Won't do it. But besides that part, a lot of great info in there, guys. If you're not already investing, I highly, highly recommend you get started. And probably one of the best and easiest ways to get started with investing is opening up an account, a retirement account like an IRA or a Roth IRA, or open up a traditional brokerage account. Or you can also start just investing in your 401k at work. And when you start investing inside these accounts, you pick what's called an ETF, an exchange traded fund. And this ETF is made up of a basket of different stocks. For example, some of my favorite are VOO, which is Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, and VTI, which is Vanguard's total stock market ETF. The S&P 500, what you're doing when you buy VOO, that money is getting spread throughout 500 different companies that make up the S&P 500. Those are the largest 500 companies in the United States. And then VTI, when you invest your money in that ETF, it gets spread throughout over 4,000 different stocks that make up the total US stock market. So the best part about this is that you're diversified. You don't have to manage anything. All you have to do is set up an automatic withdrawal to have the money get pulled out of your checking account and invested into your retirement account, 401k, or traditional brokerage, however you're choosing to invest, and just let that money grow over time. Do that every single month. Don't touch it. Dollar cost average. Don't be looking at it all the time trying to change things. Just let that puppy grow, and 20 to 30 or 40 years later, depending on how old you are when you get started with investing, trust me, you'll thank me later that random guy on YouTube told you to do it.
Let's make an $18,000 mortgage payment. Yes, that is a new record, and this is getting crazy to even say out loud, you guys. I'm trying to pay off my house before I turn 30 in June, but I think it's actually going to be quite a bit sooner than that because we only have $20,000 left on our mortgage. In November of 2023, I was a stay-at-home mom and I was literally making $0 a month. I started making budgeting content about how we paid off our debt and how it allowed me to be a stay-at-home mom. Fast forward to now and I have grown a 6-figure business. So this money comes from my digital products, mostly my budget spreadsheet. I also make some more like content creatory money from views and brand deals and UGC and affiliate links. The vast majority is from my own products. I know some people were getting a little worried about my taxes, and I will say that all of the money that I share on here about putting toward my mortgage, all of this is post-tax, post-business expenses. I have an accountant and a bookkeeper who take care of all of that for me. And my business is taxed as an S Corp, and then I pay myself a salary from my business income. So no need to worry about taxes. I am definitely paying taxes, and I've got that handled. And it wouldn't be one of these videos if I didn't include a big fat thank you for watching my videos and for supporting my small business, because this literally wouldn't have been possible without you guys. But also let this be your sign to start creating content. Create content, but then also make a product that goes along with that content, because this is some life-changing money, you guys. This has completely changed the trajectory of my family's life. So it's amazing, and thank you. Anyway, let's see how much $18,000 will save me in interest. Quick refresher, my loan amount is $115,000 with a 6.75% interest rate over 30 years. And if I just made the minimum payments on my mortgage, I would have paid over $153,000 just in interest, not even including the price of the house. That is what initially prompted me to start putting extra payments toward my mortgage in March of 2024. I've been logging every single month all the extra money we've been able to put toward principal on our mortgage. And so far it has saved us $136,000 in interest. Watch this interest saved right here as I plug in another $18,000. So it'll save me another $5,000 in interest, and you might have noticed that the interest saved is going down, and that's because we are pretty much just paying toward principal at this point. $527 a month is going toward principal, $218 a month is going toward interest, and obviously an extra $18,000 makes those numbers jump up to $631 going toward principal and $114 going toward interest. So even if I stopped now, which I'm not going to stop now, but even if I stopped now and never made another extra payment, my mortgage would now be paid off in July of 2027 instead of August of 2053. So we've basically taken 26 years off of my 30-year mortgage. I am so hopeful that next month I could just knock this out and have $20,000 to put toward principal and have it be done February 1st and have my total mortgage paid off in 18 months, but really less than a year from when we started putting extra payments. Let's just wait and see how January goes.
Yo, I freaking love that. First, I gotta say what she said at the beginning of that video talking about creating content and stuff. Yes, guys, like if you have ever even just remotely thought about creating content, try it. Why not? You have nothing to lose but maybe a little bit of time of teaching yourself how to feel comfortable in front of a camera and a little bit of editing. I think it's fun. I really do. I get it. It's not for everybody, but like she said, like I've said, it really can change your life, guys. Now I'm saying, I'll be the first one to say this. You know, all of us content creators may be doing okay right now, but like this could be a light switch that gets turned off in a second, right? All this money could go away. And I told my wife pretty much the same thing it sounds like they're doing. I was like, hey, babe, if this YouTube stuff ever just fizzles out, I said I'd at least like to have a paid for mortgage. So we did it. We chose to pay off our mortgage as well, because if YouTube ever turned the light switch off on me and I was kind of like, all right, what do I do now? I at least know my family is financially secure and we can keep our personal home. Well, now that that's done and, you know, YouTube's lights are still on, well, I can just invest all that extra money now that I'm saving. That's not going towards a mortgage payment. But I love these videos where it shows other people killing it. I mean, she's about to pay off her mortgage. How amazing is that? And there'll be excuses in the comments already. I know, well, that must be nice to have only a $115,000 mortgage. Cool. Tack on a little extra more time if your mortgage is a little higher than that. Or go move somewhere where it's cheaper to have a lower mortgage. Or save up more money when you go have a mortgage to put a larger down payment so your mortgage is smaller. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. There's some of you out there that like to complain about everything. But having, like, I mean, that's like the ultimate goal, I feel like, when it comes to this, like, consumer debt and stuff like that, is having that mortgage paid off, guys, feels so good. But I wanted to do a follow-up with her, and her name is Becca Bergman. If you guys want to follow her on TikTok, you can search her. And I wanted to see if she actually completed the mortgage payoff, so here we go.
I spent $20,000 in January on an extra payment toward my mortgage, and that was our very last mortgage payment. We are now officially mortgage free. Everybody say great job, Becca. Great job, Becca. In March of 2024, I set a crazy goal to try to pay off my house before I turned 30 by living completely off my husband's $60,000 salary and using all the money I make to pay off our house. One of the ways that I held myself accountable for this semi-delusional goal is to keep track of every single dollar we spent, so here's what we spent in January. Starting off with our financial goals, we max out 2 Roth IRAs a year, so $583 goes into each. Then $20,000 went toward our mortgage, which is a goal, but I don't usually include that in the spending breakdown. For our needs, we spent $1,043 on our very last mortgage payment, $124 on gas, $47 on our internet, $167 on electric, $31 on life insurance, and $588 on groceries. For our wants, we spent $223 on fun food like takeout and date night, $0 on fun toddler stuff because we are still working through Christmas presents, $84 on fun family activities, $137 on household essentials, $900 on miscellaneous. Some of this includes some deposits for our Disney trip to celebrate paying off our house. I will do a full breakdown of how much that is costing. Spoiler, it's a lot. $21 on Spotify, $7 on Netflix, and $1,978 on new tile for our kitchen. That brings our total spending this month to $6,523, but technically $26,523. And one of my biggest tips if you're working toward a big financial goal is to pay yourself first and treat your financial goals like just another bill that you have to pay. This way you are working toward your financial goals on autopilot every single month.
It's golden. And props to her and her family for paying off their mortgage. Absolutely incredible. Guys, I got one more clip I want to show you here. And like I said, for these videos, it's a little bit of a different spin on things. It's the motivational side. If you guys like these clips and like this video, let me know down in the comment section so I can make more of these, because they are fun for me to create, because it does give you a glimpse into people who are crushing it financially in hopes to build up your motivation and go do the same things. Because I'm telling you, if these people can do it, so can you. They're no different than you are. They're just working towards creating financial freedom for themselves and their family. Now, the next clip is about a movement that I joined many years ago, and it's called the FIRE movement, right? The FIRE movement is basically stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. So the goal there is to be able to retire early from your job or whatever you're doing to earn money if you want to. This is a community I've been a part of for a very long time. So let's hear a little bit more about the FIRE movement, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts on that after this.
Financial independence, retire early.
So you have the capability of retiring early, but you're not because you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I like that. So the method is, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the most important thing with FIRE is that you have choices.
Yes.
Think about it. Right now, when you get up and you go to work, do you want to go? Do you feel like going? If you say to yourself, man, I got to go on this job again today, that means you're lacking choices that you wish you had.
Yes.
So while you do have the wage and you have the opportunity and you have a job, which so many people don't right now, and I'm sensitive to that.
Absolutely.
Okay? While you do and you can, make that money work for you.
Come on.
Make that money work for you. Let's not overconsume. And it's easy to do. It's like the money just seeps away somehow. It just seeps into cracks and crevices. So let's figure out what we can do to stop the bleeding and shift your mindset from spending to saving to investing.
Cool.
All right? So one of the main things that I would say do is make sure you have a budget.
Okay.
And I know people hate that word, and they've seen it and they're like, oh, here she go with budget. But seriously, what I like is an Excel spreadsheet. Get you an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
Pop those formulas in there.
Yeah.
What you starting with, get your paycheck, your pay stub.
Yep.
All right. What was my gross?
Okay.
Subtract my health care, subtract my taxes, my Social Security, etc. All right. This is what I'm bringing. If you have your 401k, subtract that out.
Right.
This is what I'm bringing home.
By the way, I can save you the time on creating that budget template. Got one down below in the description if you guys want to check that out. It's only $10. Use that link down below in the description. I'll pin a comment as well. Takes you to Etsy. You buy the template. Also comes with a net worth tracker, a debt payoff tracker, a calendar in there to put different bills and payments you want to put in there, whatever you want. It's only $10. Click the link down below to get it. But yes, guys, the FIRE movement. What I love about that community and that movement is is the options you get. I've always heard the term FU money, right? Yep. Once you get to that FIRE movement and you reach that point of you're able to actually retire early, you get FU money. So like if you're at a job that you hate, it gives you the option to say, screw this, I'm going to go do something else. But here's the thing, what I've learned over the years. I used to be at that side of the community where it's like I have to put all my expenses away and invest because I hate the job that I'm at and I want to get out of it as soon as possible. And what I've learned throughout the years is now it's like, yes, I still am overly saving to get to that point of like truly being able to retire, truly financial freedom, but to get there looks a little different for me now, right? Now I love what I do. I do. I'm a YouTuber and I'm a mortgage broker, and I'll be honest with you, I wake up every day loving that I get the opportunity to do something that I love. I think that's the biggest thing, is finding something that brings you joy. Now, don't get me wrong. There are days I don't want to work. Obviously, it's everyone. There are days I wake up and I'm like, I'd rather not go to work today. But it's the fact that I'm enjoying what I'm doing over the long term. So I think that's the biggest piece of this puzzle, is finding something that you do want to do. And maybe you got to save up a little bit more before you can go take that risk to go do something else. Because maybe doing what you want to do for fun is going to maybe have to make you take a large pay cut because whatever you want to do just doesn't pay that much. But if you have the savings and the investments that you were planning for going towards retirement, well, then you can take that risk of going to take that pay cut to do something that brings you more joy, but it's still you going to work every day. So that's kind of the concept behind that, and that's why I love the community so much. The FIRE movement is, it really does make you think on how you want to set up your life financially. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I wanted to do something a little different to try and motivate everyone out there on the financial side, to show you that these people are doing these big things and that you can too. It all just comes down to one thing. You got to start.